everybody, and welcome to Angel's Viewpoint. On today's show, we're going to talk about love and relationships. And the number one thing I want to talk about today is that you don't have to be in a relationship with everybody that you love. Have you ever had a friend tell you, oh, he might treat me this way, or she might treat me this way, but I love her, I love him, I can't leave. And it goes even more serious than that. Have you ever had a friend that's in an abusive relationship and they stay in that relationship because they love the person? Oh, I love him, I can't leave him because I love him. And a lot of times you've heard people say, I know personally I have experience where I felt so in love with the person that I felt like it had to work. Like love was enough. My love was enough. It didn't matter how they were treating me. If they said that they loved me, that was enough for me. And I just was going to love them to death. Love them until they couldn't take it anymore and everything would work out right. And how many know that did not work? That does not work. A person either loves you or they don't. And some people may love you, but they're not good to be in a relationship with you. And that's the thing I want to talk about. It's not just boyfriend and girlfriend, but it also can be mother-daughter, father-daughter, father-son, mother-son. When there's somebody in your life who is hurting you and doing things that take from you, and when you get off the phone with them, you feel depleted. Have you ever talked to somebody on the phone and you were happy before you spoke to them, and by the time you're off the phone, you're sad all over again? That's somebody that's depleting you. Or somebody who's just constantly taking from you. The definition of intimacy is to be interdependent with someone. If you're not able to be interdependent with somebody, it doesn't matter how much sex you have, you're not having intimacy with that person. If it's only one-sided, then you're not having intimacy with that person. So really you're going to have to learn, as I have, how to separate love from relationships. How love can still exist even though it's not in the confines of a relationship. Let's say, for instance, that you're in an abusive relationship and you really sincerely love that person. The first thing I would ask you is, do you love that person? Do you really love somebody who's hitting you? And if so, why? What's your definition of love? And or do you love who you think they are, who you think they'll become? Because that's often been a problem for me. I will believe and see potential in somebody, and I will be in love with the potential that I see in the person, but not actually in love with the person. And so you really have to look at, first of all, are you really in love with the person? What's your definition of love? Is it based on brokenness, based on dysfunction? Find that out first. And then go through the process of healing. Talk to a counselor. Talk to your pastor. Talk to your friends. But get healed from that dysfunctional view of love. That's the first thing. Then if it's a healthy love, but the relationship just isn't working out, I want to just encourage you that it's okay to still love that person. It's okay to still have those feelings inside for that person, but to know when it's time to let go of the relationship. A relationship is give and take, and if you're only one giving all the time, I'm not talking about you both are working hard, loving each other, taking care of the children, if you have any, and something goes wrong with him or her, and you've got to pull the weight for a while. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, and you know what I'm talking about. You know when you're in one of those situations where you're giving, and that other person is taking, and you're sad all the time, you're praying all the time, and you don't feel like you're getting the answer. And you may not be getting the answer you want, but I'm sure that God is answering you. So you really have to understand that you could still love that person, but you don't have to be in a relationship with the person that you love. Love does not really consider itself in the definition of love. And so, sometimes we take that to the extreme and say, okay, well, I'm not going to consider myself. I'm just going to love the person and let him treat me any kind of way. Well, you also have to love yourself, not be selfish in love. That's what that means. But love yourself first. How can you love anybody else? How can you give anything out to the world if you don't love yourself? And I have found that there will be times where I'm not being loved, that I'm giving of myself constantly to other people, and I find myself depleted. So when it comes time to play with my daughter, I'm tired, or I'm depressed, or I'm unfocused when it comes to work. You've got to really take a realistic view over the relationship and see if it's indeed a relationship. And if it's not, pray, get counsel, and consider leaving the relationship, knowing that you can still love the person, because I have found that love just simply exists. It's always there. You can go years without seeing a person, and then you'll see them and you'll say, oh, where did all these feelings come from? Well, they never really left. So you have to find the strength within to have this hard conversation with yourself. Over the last year, I had this conversation with myself, and I am at so much peace. I can't even explain to you how much peace I'm experiencing now that I understand there's a difference between love and relationship. And I'm okay with it. I love everybody in my life. I love past and present relationships, family members that have done things that hurt me. I love them all. But is it a good idea for me to be in relationship with some of them? The answer is no. And so I have allowed those people to just move forward out of my life. While I still love them, I still care for them, and I still pray for them. So I've said a lot of words to say the same thing. You don't have to be in a relationship with everybody that you love. Those are two separate things. Relationships are give and take. It's about companionship. It's about coming together, especially in marriage, and becoming one, and doing things together, and being in this world fighting together. That's what a relationship is, together, two people together, interdependent on each other. And love is a whole other thing that is separate. It can exist, and it does exist, irregardless of whether that love is returned or not. But it doesn't have to be in a relationship with everybody that it loves. I am so glad that you've joined me today for Angel's Viewpoint, for these few minutes for me to share from my heart, because I see so many people staying in bad relationships and getting beat up and getting hurt and hurting their children because they love the potential in somebody, and staying in a relationship that is not working and is not healthy. Get the help that you need. Get out of that relationship if it's an unhealthy relationship. Love that person from a distance. Pray for them. Hold that love in your heart, but move forward. I hope that this helps you. And thank you again for listening and watching Angel's Viewpoint. Everybody have a great day.